All right, let's jump right in. Today we're looking at a financial story that's, well, it's incredibly honest. It's a little bit scary, but I promise it's also really, really empowering. This is all about what happens when you finally face the numbers, especially when you feel like you're starting late. So, let me just ask you this straight up, because it's a question from the source material that really hits home. Have you ever deliberately, not looked at your retirement accounts because you were just afraid of what you'd find? If you're nodding right now, you are definitely not alone. It's a real thing, this kind of financial dread, and it's exactly where our story begins today. So, the person at the heart of our story today, we're going to call her Rachel, is 43 years old. This isn't one of those stories about a 22-year-old with their whole life ahead of them. No, this is someone smack in the middle of her life, feeling that clock tick. And she makes a good living, $73,000 a year. That's a solid middle-class income. And that's a really important piece of the puzzle here. Her problem isn't a lack of income. It's about a late start and feeling like she's in a race against time. And here it is. This is the number that just completely sparked the crisis. After everything, her 401k, a Roth IRA, a savings account, her grand total saved for retirement was just $13,000. At 43, seeing that number in black and white, it felt absolutely devastating. Yeah, so for Rachel, this was a massive wake-up call. It wasn't just about the money on a spreadsheet. It was this gut-wrenching feeling that all her friends and peers were a full decade ahead of her. So after years of just putting it off, she finally decided to open up the accounts and face the music. But what's so important here is the why. Why did she avoid it for so long? It wasn't just laziness. Life happened. Her journey as a teen mom, then a single mom, and going through a divorce meant that for years, it was all about survival, right now. Long-term savings just wasn't an option. So her decision to finally look at it, she called it doing it scared. I love that. Okay, so now we get to the part where the cold, hard math just hits you like a ton of bricks. Because here's the thing, ignoring the numbers doesn't make them go away. And when she finally plugged everything into one of those retirement calculators, the answer it spit out was shocking. So you've got her $13,000 in savings on one side. And then on the other, you have the goal. The standard advice says if you want to pull about 70 grand a year in retirement, you need a nest egg of around $1.75 million. The gap between where she was and where she needed to be, it just looked like a canyon. And this visual just lays out the brutal truth. Based on her savings and what she could invest going forward, the calculator basically said, sure, you can get there when you're almost 76 years old. The thought of working her super stressful 70-hour-a-week job until she was 76, it honestly felt like a prison sentence. And this is the thought that creeps in, right? You see a number like 76 and your brain just goes, what's even the point? This is impossible. I might as well just give up now. It's that feeling of total hopelessness. And let's be real, that is a completely valid reaction to some pretty scary math. But this is where the story pivots. This is where it goes from despair to a real plan of action. Instead of giving up, she decided to build her way out. And the secret wasn't just about trying to save more. It was about creating a powerful cash flow machine. Here's how she did it. It's a three-step plan. First, she wiped out all of her consumer debt, credit cards, all that stuff. Then she took all that money she was paying towards debt and aimed it like a fire hose at her student loans. We're talking $1,600 to $2,000 a month. And here's the magic trick. Once the loans are gone, that money doesn't just vanish. It becomes a $15,000 a year savings engine ready to be invested. And this is what that engine looks like. That 15 grand a year is $1,250 a month. So she's going to split it right down the middle. $625 a month will max out her Roth IRA, and the other $625 will go into her 401k or another investment account. All of a sudden, that huge, scary goal starts to feel way more doable. Okay, but saving a bunch of money is only half the battle. The other half, and this might be the most brilliant part, is a total mindset shift. If the traditional finish line seems impossible to reach, well, then you gotta move the finish line. It's this idea called barista fire. It's basically a hybrid retirement. You don't grind it out until you have that $1.75 million. Instead, you save up just enough that your investments can cover your basic living costs, your mortgage, your bills, your food. Then you can quit that high-stress job and get a chill part-time gig, at a coffee shop or a library, just to cover the fun stuff. And when you put the two options side by side, you see how Barista Fire is so genius. It solves the money problem, right? You need a much smaller portfolio, which could shave years, maybe even a decade, off your working life. But it also solves another huge problem of retirement: loneliness. It gives you a reason to get out of the house and talk to people. And this is what it's all about. When Rachel really thought about it, her dream retirement wasn't about luxury travel. It was about simple freedoms: playing cards with her friends, throwing garden parties, cuddling with her pet, and the big one, just getting away from that soul-crushing 70-hour work week. You don't need millions for that. You just need freedom. And I think this just says it all. At the end of the day, this whole journey isn't about catching up to your neighbors or hitting some number a financial guru made up. It's about progress. It's about you against you. Can you just be a little bit better today than you were yesterday? That's the only race that matters. So we'll end on this question. Inspired by Rachel, who decided to do it scared, what is one number you've been avoiding? Maybe it's your total debt, maybe it's your retirement balance. What's one number you can finally look at today to start taking your power back?